Hi, Happy New Year. Welcome to another episode of Unscripted with your host, Mikey.
And Danny.
Yep, sorry we have been, a little bit MIA from the holidays, but I hope that you guys had a good time celebrating Christmas and Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate, and also the New Year. Hopefully you guys got to have family time together.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. But yeah, I guess,
Exciting things have been happening, apparently. Mikey and I were just talking about
yeah,
the war that's broken out
yeah,
between the US and Venezuela.
yeah.
Um, it's interesting. I mean, a real, bang to start off the new year, I suppose. That's what we're
Yeah,
looking
I
at it.
mean, I feel like I sometimes I wonder like, okay, I've been living under a rock, but a lot of the times I wonder, are these events just like staged just to mark like the beginning of the new year? Like what is
I don't
going
know. I
on?
mean, it's yeah, we're living in, as one of my favorite columns would call it, interesting times.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
political, social, economic, so
Yeah.
much change happening, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's interesting to see how things unfold.
For sure.
Um,
Yeah. Like what
Certainly an exciting
instigated
year.
the war? And Trump is currently on trial for that, right? Like
Yes,
in New York.
yes.
Yeah. Oh.
So with that, maybe let's talk about how we spent our holidays and
Yeah, for sure.
what we did.
Yeah,
And maybe I'll go first.
sure.
If that's
Okay.
okay with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So for Christmas and for New Year's, I kind of laid low. I went back home
Mm-hmm.
to the suburbs to visit my
Uh-huh.
mom and spend some quality time with her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a good period. I think for me, the holidays, they're really good for as a period of reflection, introspection,
Mm-hmm.
and also conversation with family about, how things have been, where things are going.
Mm-hmm.
And and I think there's some good takeaways, I think, from this opportunity to kind of slow down, shift focus away from work to family and relationships, and kind
Mm-hmm.
of level set and understand kind of how we are, and me and my mother specifically, and how things have been.
Mm-hmm.
We had an interesting conversation about career, and I think it was good insight. I mean, ultimately, to sort of, uh, I guess, sum it up in a nutshell, there's been a bit of a conflict in terms of values between, my mother and myself, when it comes to career. I think her perspective is that she has more of a collectivistic sort of perspective when it comes to how you navigate your career. And for
Mm-hmm.
her, a good career is one where, you're constantly kind of striving and achieving and um, strategizing to make sure that you climb as high as possible on the corporate ladder
Mm-hmm.
and um, yeah, just aim and hopefully, achieve these accolades and to make
Mm-hmm.
a good effort of it. I think
Mm-hmm.
for myself, when I first entered corporate, that was my sort of goal.
Mm-hmm.
But after, working for over a decade, my priorities have changed. I think it's shifted more from, you know, um, what I can offer versus what I can offer, society, company,
Yeah.
et cetera, to what I can offer for myself. And I
Mm.
think, for a lot of people, especially um, today, I know, values have changed and shifted, but
Sure.
there is more of a focus for personal well-being and mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And for myself, I think I quite like my current role.
Mm-hmm.
I am not uh, at the managing level,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm also comfortable where I currently am. And I think it's also important to take that into consideration
Yeah.
and understand your relationship to your work and how that can affect your long-term physical mental health
Mm-hmm.
and prioritize that over maybe achieving certain accolades or
Mm-hmm.
gaining the respect of certain peers or
Mm-hmm.
people senior to you.
Mm-hmm.
um, and so yeah, I think there is a bit
Yeah.
of a differing. of opinion.
For sure. I
Hope
definitely
I
see.
communicated that in a
Yeah.
respectful and thoughtful way.
Absolutely. I think that, I definitely see both sides of the coin, where in collectivist societies, there's this pressure or this kind of ideal of contributing to society or like the greater good for like the rest of your life or as long as you're alive. And I think like, people treat you nicer or like they respect you more in collectivist societies when you are thinking of other people and being considerate and, constantly like, you know, yeah, just being aware of
But
your
also that you have these accolades, right? That you
right,
are
right.
able to, command a high wage, especially,
Yeah.
as men in society. I think there's an expectation that you would be a defender and a protector,
Right, or like
and
a
a provider.
provider for your family and whatnot.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
I think like, sure, you can also argue like in individualistic societies, like, you're always like there's more of a focus on, I guess, personal achievement and finding personal fulfillment and like individual happiness. And there's also this like self-care narrative that is embedded into it as well.
Which
Um,
is recent, by the way. I mean, I do think
yeah,
this idea of mental health, self-care,
yeah,
it's very like mid 2010s, right? That I think that
yeah,
sort of came
yeah.
into the cultural
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, I think it's a great marketing tool, but at the same time, it's also like something that is like
It's also real.
it's
Yeah.
real,
Yeah.
Like I think that the amount of unprecedented changes in society where in the 1950s, like just one working parent could take care of the entire child, like the entire family. Life,
Mhm.
not to say that it was necessarily easier back then, but like the perception of responsibility was different, and you
Yeah.
could support an entire family on a single income, whereas nowadays, like there is so much more stress and anxiety in the air arguably because, one, our population like growth rate is declining. So population growth is slowing down. It's also a lot harder economically to take care of, a family with a single income. Like it's very common for both families to be
Yeah.
working. It's more common for us, at least like in Gen Z, a lot of us, I would say, like, move out of home like at a much slower rate than I guess previous generations. We're, I guess, more financially incentivized to stay at home for as long as possible
Mm.
until we are able to get our feet on the ground. And I think there's a lot of these different pressures that cause or like us to respond in, yeah, the way that we do. And that also makes, self-care and like all of this like, you know, yeah, marketing so persuasive.
Of course. And I think, there's something to be said as well,
Mhm.
in particular for Gen Y, is that the generation for millennial?
Gen
Um,
X? Wait, no, wait. Sorry, I don't even know yeah, millennials are just their own. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Gen Y. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think there's this phenomenon for a lot of people of like the sandwich generation where you're taking care of your kids, but you're also taking care of your parents as they age as
Mhm.
well. And there's a lot of pressure, as you say. And I completely agree with that. There's a cost of living crisis in the US, and
Yeah, and
that's really
all
not.
also all over the world. Like this is not
Mm,
just a US thing. Like this is happening
mm,
at an unprecedented rate as, the growth of capital exceeds the rate of economic growth.
yeah,
But again,
yeah.
whole other can of worms.
Yeah, and certainly it doesn't serve anyone to sort of, put a ton of pressure on yourself and
Right,
work yourself,
right.
into the hospital.
Mhm.
It's not a sustainable way to kind of go about doing things.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
um, yeah,
yeah. So, but yeah, again, with this pursuit of financial independence and fire, and how does that kind of fit in with, I guess, the values of, I don't know, our generation, or I guess like the changing values? I think nobody really wants to work in the same way that we used to, like in the past. Or I
yeah,
guess like the traditional idea of work has started to, I don't know, go away from, having loyalty to like a certain company for like such an like so for the rest of your life or like your working career. And now it's more
yeah. For sure. And I don't know if
Yeah.
it's the same with your parents, but I think with mine and with some as well, there's this
Mhm.
sort of expectation that, we've worked hard for 30 years
Yeah.
and sacrificed. And if we can do it, we also expect the same from you, meaning like our kids as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
There's a
And
lot of that kind of rhetoric, I think, which exists. And I think, that's valid. That's, I certainly that is a valid belief to have. And I
right.
understand where they come from. But at the same
Mhm.
time,
Yeah.
I think it's important to recognize that, your children may not have the same values as you.
Yeah, or they may not
And
have the same economic opportunities, values, cultural upbringing, a lot of these things
mm,
that, I think both are barriers, but also lessons at the end of the day. So,
yes. And
yeah.
I feel like nowadays to compromise culturally feels like a dirty word, but it shouldn't be. It is not a bad thing to compromise, and to have conversation and dialogue and not,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
completely, shut oneself away from people that, you disagree with. And
Right,
so,
right.
that's, I think, an important lesson that I keep in mind when I
Yeah,
try to
yeah.
navigate these scenarios in my life.
For sure. I think it's especially hard when you're having a conversation with a loved one or someone you care about who has like conflicting values. But I also think that,
Mm.
it because you love them and you care about them, you do make sure that there is space, there is bandwidth to be able to have those conversations. As
Yeah.
compared to just like having a conversation with a random stranger that, has extreme political views that you absolutely don't just like agree with. But like, you have a
Absolutely.
right, but you have a double
Absolutely.
standard because you care about the person. And I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
the desire to bridge the gap on both ends, I think, is a very powerful motivator for connection. So, yeah.
for sure. For sure.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I don't know. What else did we want to discuss? Oh, what you did for the new year. Christmas.
Well, I think for me, that was kind of
That was
my
good.
thing. It was a pretty chill kind of holiday, just spent at home.
Same.
I cooked. I helped prepare a delicious. Well, it was interesting. I baked a duck, but it was. I think there's certainly a learning curve there to kind of
Yeah.
refine and get it. But I felt like it was a good first attempt.
Oh,
Um,
wait, you made duck as well for, I
I
guess, Christmas.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a pretty simple roast duck.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just sort of brine it and put it in the oven.
Yeah. I think duck over turkey any day.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping it could be a little bit closer to like the Cantonese version.
Oh, where like the skin is like super crispy and like
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking for Peking duck for like that's super
right.
difficult. But
Yeah, yeah.
even like the Southern China version where
Mhm.
but I think it was not quite there yet.
For sure.
But it's a lifelong skill, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll figure out. I'll muster the courage to do how they ladle the hot oil on the skin to
Yeah.
get it super crispy.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
like
I'll
fry
muster
it.
the courage
Yeah,
to can do that in the future.
for
But
sure.
for
Yeah.
now, baking it probably is the best route to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um,
What about you? What have you done for the holidays?
well, I traveled to Australia for 2 weeks because one of my friends is an entomologist or aspiring entomologist. He's doing a
Mm,
PhD on caterpillar research and butterflies.
so
And
cool.
yeah, it's super cool. So he ended up getting a research grant that also subsidized an additional person because the drives into the like the field were super long. It's like 10 maybe like 10 plus hours round trip. And because of these super long drives, I think the university thought that it was really dangerous to just do it alone. So there's enough space and I guess like funds for an additional person. Thankfully, I was the only one that one was like willing to collect insects and help out.
Mm.
In because Australia, like the creatures are super poisonous and toxic and scary and whatnot. And I was like, oh fuck, like, do I have to insure myself? Got myself health insurance and whatnot. So that was good. And then second of all, like nobody I think happened to be free during the holidays. Like everyone had their own
Mm.
plans. Like also I was like available. And I brought this idea up to my mom. I was like, so I got this opportunity to accompany, one of like a researcher on this 2-week trip to Australia. Should I go? And I was really scared that she would be not approve of this trip. She's like, that's so far. Like, aren't you gonna die because of like, getting bit by some random creature or animal? And actually, her response was super positive. She was like, well, actually, you have some relatives in Sydney and you absolutely should go visit them. And I was like, oh, okay, so you're on board with this. And my mother was like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, go see Australia, you're young, go travel, like when else are you going to have an opportunity like this? And I was like,
Yeah.
you're so right. So I talked along. It was quite a wild journey. So yeah, the trip was from mid-December all the way to the end of December. So it was just 2 weeks, last 2 weeks of December, basically. Um, just traveling from the East Coast of the US to Australia is just a nightmare. Like it's a 26-hour journey. Um,
Wow.
you
Wow.
there's no direct flights, I think, because I was flying out of Boston. But
Mm.
yeah, I was flying from Boston to Canberra, which for those of you who don't know is like the Washington, D.C. of Australia. It's the administrative region where the government is. But yeah, we were flying there, but yeah, flying to Canberra via Los Angeles and Sydney. So there were two, like it was to in total 3 legs of flights. And we only had, I think, 1 hour in between to make our connection. And that was where things went wrong in the very beginning of the trip. So first, we flew to Los Angeles with a 1 hour time frame to make the connection, but our flight got delayed because of weather issues in Boston. So we left an
Mm.
hour later than expected. By the time we got to LA, our connection had already left, and because there's only one flight to Sydney, I think like every 24 hours, like just by nature of our like airline, they had to rebook us. So we got stuck in Los Angeles for 24 hours, which was a time.
Wow, that is a time.
Yeah. So, yeah, but it was nice because I luckily had other friends in Los Angeles. They're also like PhD students at UCLA. We hung out, got dinner together, just kind of made the most that we could out of the 24 hours that we
Oh, that's great.
had.
Yeah.
They also compensated us, the airline compensated us for like a night of free hotels. So we got two separate rooms. And
Mm.
it was fully like it was like a nice hotel too. It was like the Sheraton Gateway
Okay.
Hotel in Los Angeles. So that was
Okay.
nice. And then we flew to Australia, which had a time difference of 16 hours, and I was just like so over
Wow.
it.
Wow, that is a huge time difference.
Yeah. So then we got to Canberra, and you're thinking like, okay, like if it's kind of like the Washington DC, like there should be like things to do. It should be nice. It should be fun. No, apparently every single Australian does not like Canberra or like is like judgmental of the fact that we were staying in Canberra because they're like, what are you doing in Canberra? Like, what's there to do? Like, there's a lot of that attitude.
There's
Um,
lots of caterpillars there.
yeah, I guess there's a lot of butterflies. No, but so yeah, like as we found out during the holiday season, a lot of restaurants, small businesses, establishments were shut down for the
Mm.
holidays, and it also has like half a million people in terms of population size, so it's not that big.
Oh.
And when we were there, it didn't feel like the city was particularly like it didn't feel like the population there grew organically, and it didn't feel like the city, like New York, like, it had its history, it had its roots,
Mm.
people. Whereas there, it just felt like a cookie cutter kind of like Sims, like, I don't know, urban
Does
simulator
it
kind
have
of
that kind of
city.
like business center feel? You know how in most
Yeah, yeah,
cities?
yeah. Like
Okay.
central business district kind of
Okay.
like feel where everything is
Yeah.
like, I don't know, there's like fancy like restaurants and like bars,
Well,
but like,
the classic is like the Panera Bread or like the salad places like the business
yeah,
lunch salad places. That's
yeah,
like it
yeah.
really has that like nothing says corporate
Mhm.
center, like seeing the sweet greens next
Oh
to office
yeah, yeah,
buildings.
yeah.
Yeah.
Except, they had their own kind of industry. There's like Kohl's and Woolworths, which is their own like
Mm,
supermarket chain.
yeah, no.
But yeah, like all the bars, clubs, empty, even though they were like operational.
Mm,
Like it was just really like it felt like we were entering like a ghost town, and it was not. It was super unsettling. I mean,
yeah. I guess like I go well, yeah, I guess it depends on the city because like some cities like New York, it's always busy during holiday season. Like
yeah,
everybody's,
yeah,
but I guess other cities it's just a little quieter. Maybe
for
people
sure.
choose to kind of stay home with family instead of going out and about.
Yeah. But I was, meeting some local people there because I had to like install an eSIM, and there
Mm.
are people who are working. It's kind of like the AT&T, but like Optus is like their telecommunications network, and there was someone who was helping me like set up my eSIM, and she asked me like, "How do you like Canberra so far?" And I was like, "Oh no, it's like it's cute, you know." And she's like, "There's nothing to do. There's like nothing to do here." And I was like, "Oh, well." I mean, it was my first day, but then as, time went on, I was like, oh yeah, there really isn't that much to do.
Mm. Yeah.
Um,
Ah.
yeah. But anyway, so that was just the first couple of days. Then we flew out to Cairns, which is like Canberra's in the south, Cairns is in the north.
Mm.
It's like a resort town, super tropical, where the rainforests are. We like drove out and about.
Oh,
The drives
sounds
are really
wonderful.
long. Um, like 5 hours at a time, split between the two of us.
Wow.
But yeah, that was kind of like my Christmas. It was just spent like in the field doing collection work.
I don't know. That sounds like interesting.
It,
Did
it
you
was
like
super
it?
fun.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I liked it. It was hot, but
Yeah.
it was just also like, I don't know. Yeah, I like the beaches, but it was also jellyfish season. If for
Mm.
those of you who also don't know, Cairns is where the Great Barrier Reef is.
Oh, wow.
So that's like where the coral and like these like, really wacky sea creatures like live.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
never had a tropical holiday before. That sounds fun.
yeah, it was super fun. There's also a sizable Japanese migrant population there, so there's a lot of like izakayas and like Japanese restaurants, which is like
Okay.
super nice as well. So there's a lot more life there.
Hmm.
But yeah, when we were collecting, it was like, first of all, it's a culture shock to drive in Australia because everything is like mirrored from the US. All the exits, the highways, everything is on the left side. The steering wheel is on the right side of the car. The blinkers and the left and right turn signal is on the right side of the steering wheel. There's so many things that I had to wrap my head around. I was like, oh my God, like
Wow.
this is crazy.
Interesting. Interesting.
Um,
It's really, really topsy-turvy there.
yep. I mean, I guess it makes sense because they're, in the southern hemisphere,
Yeah.
you know, everything's upside down, and I guess it
Yeah.
kind of is. Um, but yeah, collection
It's
work was
cool.
fun. Then we flew back to Canberra again, and the universities were shut down, so my PhD
Mm.
friend, like, had to request special access to the labs and whatnot, but he was freaking out because he had not known that Australia was so laxed with I guess like everything shutting down during the holidays. Nothing's open on Christmas, nothing's open
Mm.
like the weekend of, nothing's
Wow.
open on Boxing Day. Whereas in the US, I feel like at least like some places are still running. Like supermarkets are still like open in the mornings at the very least, like
Yeah.
but everything is just shut down like in Australia
Interesting.
during that time. But yeah, lots of culture shock moments where, I met my relatives, second cousins, and they,
Okay.
were sharing stories about what it's like growing up in Australia and whatnot. And I just had a lot of reflections of like, what the hell was I, sorry, I'm swearing, but like, what the hell was I doing in the US? Like all my life. Just like moments of like, oh yeah, so like, because my cousin, originally opened up the discussion like, so what's like your tuition rates for like college? Like how much do you pay for tuition? And I was like, oh, like average is about 50 to 70,000 US dollars per year. And he was like genuinely like surprised because not that he's never heard of that figure before, but he's like, so like how does student loan repayment plans work? Because the
Mm.
structure is just like completely different.
Is education pretty much close to free in Australia?
It's 5,000 US per year.
Yeah, I
Like
mean that's pretty close.
It's pretty close.
Great.
And their like income tax rate is effectively the same as it is here in the US. And healthcare is like medical bankruptcy is unheard of. Like
Wow.
like it's
That's an
just
efficiently run government. Yeah,
and
that's great.
exceptionally efficient. And I was like, oh my God, what did I like why did I grow up in this country? So there's a lot of like moments like that where I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I wonder how to get a, oh, there's a way to get a dual citizenship.
Right?
Hmm.
But yeah, it's just like I think, the people there are they feel super, I guess like compared to Americans who are more anxious about, oh my God, like if I'm not employed, like I don't have my own health insurance and I have to find it like on the marketplace and I have to pay like $7,000 per year just to like fund my
Yeah.
own. Like it's like individualism to
Yeah.
the extreme, whereas there's like a very sizable social safety net that I was like just super impressed by and also was almost like, yeah, incredibly envious of. Like,
Mhm.
yeah. Um, so yeah, there was that. I also tried kangaroo meat.
Oh gosh, what does that taste like?
I would say it's similar to lamb, but it's
Okay.
a little more tender.
So
Um,
it is a little gamey.
a little bit gamey, but I think
So,
because of the way they seasoned it, it's also crazy that they sell kangaroo meat at most major grocery store chains in Australia. I was like, this is crazy. Um, yeah, yeah,
that is
and
crazy.
also,
I thought it was like an endangered species or something. I thought it was like the national animal, you know?
oh no, they're everywhere. I mean,
I
yes,
see.
it kind of is like the national. I don't know if it's the national. I think the national animal in Australia is the koala, but
Okay.
anyway, like kangaroos
Okay.
are super abundant. There's so many of them, like
Mm,
roadkill. Yeah,
wow.
lots of that.
It's almost like the equivalent in the US would be like eating a bald eagle. Like, I don't know. I want to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Are bald eagles edible? Somebody look that up for us. I don't know. Yeah. No, it was an experience. I liked it.
That's cool.
Um, Australian barbecues, Australians know how to do their barbecues.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Steak
yeah.
on the I can't say it. I
Shrimp
can't.
on the Barbie. I don't know what
Steak on the
the
Barbie.
saying
I
is,
can't
but
say it with
yeah.
an Australian accent.
But yeah. So yeah, we got out of Canberra, visited Sydney for a bit, did the touristy things, saw the Opera House, saw, I guess, like
Mm.
the Royal Botanical Gardens, saw like a
Wow, that
couple of
sounds fun.
museums. Just learning about like Australia as a country is super interesting as well, because their origins are actually quite similar to the US. I mean, it's a convict country where all the prisoners were sent to from like the UK because they were running out of space. So they needed a place to house the prisoners. And then like eventually like, colonialism and, like displacing Aboriginal peoples, like the same way that, colonists in the US like displaced like Native Americans, like that narrative is also like acknowledged as well in their history.
Mm.
And yeah, I don't know. I think the way that I I don't know, I just feel like Australia is a little bit more humane in terms of
It
yeah,
just sounds like an interesting country to visit. Yeah, it's
yeah, the way they treat the
because
people.
I mean there's similarities in terms of the culture, but
Yeah,
I guess just the way it's run, it's so different.
yeah,
You know, I
yeah,
mean, I love a tropical kind of the idea of a tropical kind of wintertime.
for
It's
sure.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, but in
So they have like wintertime in June, right? Or July.
yeah, so it's
So
everything's like
fascinating.
reversed. Winter time
So
is yeah, June, July, August. Summertime is like December, January, February.
that is so cool. I like, yeah, because you always
Um,
associate like, snow and just cold and short days with December, but it's like
yeah.
I wonder like so I guess the children's books that they have must be like have it the other way around where it's like, oh, you're like building a snowman in June and then you're going to the
Well,
beach in like December.
the funny thing is that I don't think it really snows that often in Australia.
Okay, I
I
see.
think if you go to the mountainous regions, it does, but I think most major cities, it's very rare for it to snow.
Mm,
I think my friend who grew up in Canberra, like, only witnessed snow like once in his life, and it wasn't even actual snow; it was just hail.
wow,
Uh, so yeah, the experience of snow and seasons is also a little bit foreign because of the way that the climate
I
is. It's
see.
all yeah.
Iowa's good too. I mean, we don't need too much snow all the time.
Yeah.
creating
Yeah.
traffic accidents and whatnot.
No.
That's like one thing I don't like about winter.
Oh, good
Yeah.
God. Yeah, I think that's also the thing about the US is that there's so much diversity in terms of climate. Like you could have grown up all your life in California and never experienced like
Oh,
your
that's
first
true.
snowfall. Whereas like
Arizona, where
us two,
else?
we're biased because we
Miami.
grew up in New England and,
Yeah. I
experienced like
know my friend went to I don't know if it's I know Miami or no, Naples in
okay.
Florida.
Yep.
And it was like 80,
Yeah.
90 degrees. It was like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
I was
No,
like,
that
damn,
yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, I mean in Florida it's like summer all year practically, right? Because,
Yeah, I think the southern part, I think it gets cold. It definitely gets cold in Orlando. I've been there in wintertime. It's like
yeah.
quite chilly. But yeah,
No.
no, the southern tip is like perpetual summer.
Yeah. No, I can imagine.
So
Yeah, it is. I
we're
was there.
about to run out of time, unfortunately. We have like 4 minutes
Okay.
before it
But yeah.
automatically closes the
Yeah,
meeting.
I'll just summarize like the very tail end of my trip. Basically,
Mhm.
TSA was a nightmare. TSA pre-check line was shut down in San Francisco on my layover. Ended up delaying my flight by 6 hours because the weather was so shitty on the northeast coast. And then yeah, what was originally supposed to be a 26-hour journey became 32 hours, and I was dying, and then I ended up getting ill by the time I got home. So the trip itself was so fun, and then the very tail end of it was just a nightmare. Like yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Traveling is always just a nightmare, but I'm glad
During
that
the
you got
holidays
home.
especially, yeah, just not saying you shouldn't travel on the like during the holidays, but even if you had travel insurance, it doesn't protect you from all these anomalies and hiccups.
Mm,
So,
definitely buyer beware.
yes.
Travel during the off season if you can.
Yes. Off peak.
January is the off season, right? That's when nobody's traveling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think January, February is off peak. I have a
I
friend
would
who,
love to travel around this time, but it's like, that's when people go back to work and
oh,
projects need to kick off and
it's so
like,
good to
yeah,
travel like January, February.
yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely for those in the um RE portion of their fire journey.
hmm Yeah,
For sure.
yeah, yeah. Or people who are not necessarily like already in fire, but who have enough assets to sustain themselves for a little bit, or who are looking to have a mini retirement. This is a great time. This is a
Yeah.
great time to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Don't gotta tell me twice.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, all right, well, thanks everyone for watching and listening.
Mhm.
And yeah, let us know in the comments if you are open to sharing what you did for the holidays for
Mhm.
Christmas and New Year's
Yeah.
and what shows you've watched.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
a foreshadowing of maybe what we can talk about next
yeah.
episode.
Sure. Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Well,
yeah, that's it with Mikey and Danny.
yep.
We'll see you next time.
Like, comment,
Bye.
subscribe. Bye.